Just one moment. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I would like everybody to wave to Sandy. She's pretty awesome. Sandy has worked with us. Let me back up. I apologize. My name is Abby Johnson. I'm the Housing and Urban Improvement Manager with the City of Melbourne. And I believe you're here today because you're interested in applying for federal funds at some point with us. So thank you for coming. I know we rarely, at least since I've been here, had a mandatory training. So thank you for taking time out of your incredibly busy schedules to make sure that you came today. We respect your time and we will work efficiently with you. I'm going to introduce you to Sandy Masonot. She is freaking awesome. That's the most kosher thing I can say right now. I'd love to give you some more adjectives, but she is so incredibly wonderful. She has helped us build some software that is going to make your life easier, our life easier. We've been promising for 2 years now that we would go virtual, and it's finally time. And Sandy Masonot is, and Neighborly, I'm not pretend that you don't work for a company, but Sandy Masonot and Neighborly are the biggest reasons that we are able to move forward and give you a really good product, something we have faith in and other cities are already using. So we're happy to walk into the 21st century with you all. Thank you for your patience ahead of time. And one of the reasons we really wanted you here today is because we are not the trainers. They built the software so you can hear it directly from them. There's plenty of extra information that will be provided later on, but I'm going to hand this over to Sandy and let her take it away.
Thank you for the awesome introduction, Abby. Good morning, room team. We see you all as a big team of ours. Welcome to the Neighborly Software family. As Abby stated, my name is Sandy. I have been the implementation lead for the City of Melbourne, building out their programs. And today we will be demoing the portal and how you guys will get registered, log in, how to go through an application, and the post-submit life cycle of what it looks like to submit reports, draw requests, all of the great things. So if you have any questions at any time, of course, I will give the floor to take any questions that you may have. Just make sure you write them down if I'm in the middle of something really good, so you do not lose your question. So we'll get started. We will get started. So can everyone see the screen that I am sharing right now? Yes, thumbs up. Yep, awesome. All right. So where we are is we are on what we consider the portal. So this portal is specifically for the City of Melbourne participants, subrecipients, applicants. That is everyone that is currently in the room. What you will be required to do, of course, let me preface this by saying that the City of Melbourne will supply you with this URL. They will also supply you with what we call a getting started guide. So it will be a guide that has been specifically created for you, subrecipients, with subrecipients in mind, that will walk you through this process that I'm going to train you on right now. So you will have the documented procedures and process on how to get into this software. But the first step is that you are required to register, okay? So what you will register with will be with your organization's email address. With that email address, you will click on Send Verification Code. And what it does is it's validating that this email address is in fact real and correct. Once you receive that email, you'll go ahead and confirm the email address, and it will immediately direct you back to this site, Neighborly Software, where you will see a pop-up that will show you where to enter your first name, your last name, and a password. Your password must be 12 characters long. An uppercase, a lowercase, a number, and a special character is what should make up your password, okay? Once you create that password and it's been validated, you should be able to sign into Neighborly Software. That is the first step. A few things on this page that you'll see is we do have a language selection. Of course, if there is a primary language that you speak, that you decide to speak other than English, or that you would rather see the application in rather other than English, you have the option to select those languages, and your application will be turned into that selected language. We also have an option for forgot your password. If you were to forget your password, this is a self-service option that will walk you through resetting your password. Let me refresh. Okay. We also have a video tutorial here that will walk you through how to reset your password. Right here is our help icon. If you ever get stuck, these options will direct you to our technical support team. Our technical support team is located here in Atlanta, Georgia, and they will be available to you from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for support. So if you have any issues where you have not received a confirmation email after you've clicked on register, you have not received that email, any technical issues, password reset, error message, account locked, or anything else, if you were to click on that button, what it will do is it will pull in your email and your detailed description, and you can send attachments. We here at Neighborly Software, and Abby knows that I love screenshots. If you can capture a screenshot of any error or any issues that you have and share it, this is the quickest way we can really identify what issues you are facing and fix it immediately. Okay, so we'll go ahead and sign in. Oh, let me see. Here we go. All right. And when you sign in, you'll land here on this page. And on this page, we call this the participant landing page, your dashboard. It will be specifically tied to you. It will greet you and it will say your name. It gives the information about the city of Melbourne, what number you should contact should you have any questions or any accessibility requests. And also we have here our just our information about how we protect your information that you enter into our system. The first thing you will see is here is the ability to start a new application, okay? There may be some folks from capital improvements, I'm not sure, but I specifically put up public services. But when the application has been made live, and what we mean by live, that means that the application is now ready and open to the general public, and we are ready to receive your information in your application. When the application is made live, this is what it will look like. You will, of course, click to start application, and you will put in your agency or organization name and click on start application. Let me see here. I've already got an application that I've started, so I'm making some changes on the other side. Now, once you click on start application, what should happen is that an application will be created and your status will be marked as in progress. As you can see, after I've made a few tweaks and changes on the other side, you can see that now my page is different. Now it's showing different. What this means is that at any time during your application, you will have the ability to save the information that you've entered, log out, and come back in at any time. When you do come back in, the application that you've created will already be waiting for you, okay? So let's go ahead and view our application. While we are here, do we have any questions, concerns, comments from anyone in the room? Everybody's good? All right, awesome. I see the thumbs up. Thank you. All right, so we landed here on our page. This is the beginning of our application. Before we go ahead and click here to continue our application, there are a few things that I'd like to call out to you all. These 5 numbers, we call them your case ID or your case number. This is a number that is unique specifically to your organization or your agency. What this means, if we have two agencies called We Love Food, love is spelled Love for one agency and LUV for the other. How do we know who we're talking about? If you ever call the city of Melbourne and say, We Love Food is the name of my agency, I have some questions. The first question that the city of Melbourne will ask you is, what is your case ID? This case ID will be able to really determine which of the loves we are talking to. So this is a way to really highlight and pinpoint who you are, and just case IDs is just something that you can always reference, and the city of Melbourne can always reference to quickly pull up your application. Next, we have view users. By clicking on this option, we have the ability to add additional applicants to your application. I highly, highly, highly recommend for the agencies and the organizations that are currently in the room, if you are the executive director, or if you're the point of contact, at least add 2 or 3 additional folks to your application. This will remove any issues with someone being out of the office or something being undone. These are the trusted people who should have access or the same information that you do, where everyone or 2 or 3 people will have access to an application. What you will do is, the first thing you'll see, you already see yourself because you created the application, so you're already tied to this application. You can add a user, and you'll enter that email address of your executive director, of your point of contact, the executive assistant, whoever it is. You'll enter their email address and click add. By clicking add, you have now just given that person the same permissions that you have within the system. You'll inform them and say, hey, I've added you to Neighborly Software. And they now have to register with that same exact email that you've shared with them, that you've added them as a user, log in, and right when they log in, they will see that existing application that's there waiting for them. So that is how adding a user works. You have access to documents. Documents allow you to see all of the documents that you have uploaded throughout the process of your application. And you have the ability to print your application. So if you wanted to print it, the output will be in PDF, and you can save it to any files that you'd like to save it to, but you do have that opportunity to do so. In addition, we have this little user icon. By clicking on this user icon, I have all of these permissions because I am an admin, but if you go to my profile, you'll have the ability to make any updates within your general settings, your alternate email address, your preferred language. If you want to update your background contrast, you can. And you also have the ability to change a password. So if you wanted to change a password, not because you forgot the password, you've already logged in, so you did not forget, you just want to change your password, you can do so here. Our system will not send a quarterly or every 60 days. We will not send a notification to you to change your password. That's just up to you to do, right? So let's go back home. Okay, so we're going to get started with our application. All right, so the first page that we are landing on is what we call our program overview. This gives you an idea of the program, what is being asked for this program round, for this fiscal or this round that you are applying for. It tells you everything that will be needed with the process. So this is the city of Melbourne being quite transparent with you and as easy as they can with the information. Okay, so it's all laid out here and available to you. In addition to all of this information, we have frequently asked questions that you have the ability to go through. And we also have links here that you can click on, and that will open into a new tab. So this gives you an idea of any limits or lines or locations that you are able to work with it. So this is what these maps are. All right, so we have a few maps that you can definitely click on. And one of the most important that you will see throughout the application is the consolidated plan. Okay, so this is available to you. Down here, we have the option to either save or complete and continue. To save just means that, okay, you read it, you need to take a break and come back, you can save it. But if you've read everything and you agree to everything that is here, to complete and continue, okay, this does two things. It earns you a green check mark, so it's telling you good job, and it also moves you to the next step. So by going to the next step, we have our organization information. We're putting in our org name, our address, our organization type, and this is what we call a drop down where you can select. You are required to upload your tax information as well as putting in your unique identifier, okay? In addition to that, we need to know who your point of contact is. We need to know their title, phone number, as well as their contact email. We also would like to know your mission and your history and accomplishments. So you have the ability to fill this information in. As you're filling information in, do not let the size of the box fool you. If you have a long and awesome history, brag, tell us about it. Tell the city of Melbourne of how great you are, all of the awards you won, all of the grandmas that you've saved their cats from a tree. Whatever it is, tell them. They would like to know, they would like to see, okay? So do not let the size of the boxes discourage you from entering information. You have the ability to put in information. Now, if I try to complete and continue this step, I will not be able to do so. That is because there is information that is required of me. So as you go through, sometimes human error happens. We may go through and we may forget one step. If you do click on continue, complete and continue, there are a few pieces that will come up that will tell you, hey, you've made an error. Okay, and you can go back and either fill in the information that's missing or you can make adjustments. So I have an address. I tried to find a real address. Put in Melbourne, Florida, our zip code. All right. So we've satisfied that requirement. Now this is one requirement we need to satisfy here. Let's see if that works. We're good to go. 12 characters. Now, as we continue, we see we've received another green check mark, and we also are now moved to the next step. Now, what if program description? I'm not sure of the program description yet. That is one of the users that I have added. They'll come in and put that information in, and I want to skip this. You have the ability to skip. So if you do not want to do step B just yet, you can skip to another section, but you cannot get to submit. That is because we encourage you to receive green check marks throughout the application before we allow you to submit this application, okay? So you are required to receive your green check marks. This means that you have satisfied the requirements of each step before you can get to the submit step. So let's say we're skipping step B because my director will come in and put that information, but I know everything else. We'll read the page. We also have a few links here that are sprinkled in. If you are to click on the links, what they will do is they will open up in a new tab. You can leave them there, but this is an example of what this page is asking you to do, okay? So you'll just take a look at the page, take a look at the goals, inputs, activity, outputs, and outcomes. Understand what is being asked of you, and you can definitely put the information here. We talked about the consolidated plan. If you click here, that consolidated plan is available to you as well. Okay, so it is in there, so you do not have to go back a few steps to the to the program overview to look for the document. The City of Melbourne has worked really hard to make information readily accessible to you. Okay, so we have that. Now, what the system will do is I have skipped B to complete C, but once I complete C, it pushes you back up to the step that you have not completed. Okay, this is just a reminder. This is just saying, hey, this is something that needs your attention. Come back. So with this, we can put in our program name, our program summary. Again, do not let the size of the box discourage you from putting in the information that is needed. You can put in as much information as needed that you feel is necessary to get the point across of your program. The proposed number, so we'll put in a number here. You have a drop down again that will give you the information 1, 2, 3, and those options are here. And you also have your activities that you can select, okay? So you have the ability to select as many activities as needed. So if your program covers education, recreational needs, and childcare, you will select those 3. We also have the current consolidated plan, which you can click here to have access to. So you'll put in the information that is here. We have that sprinkled everywhere for you. You have your 3 objectives that you can select from. And then you also have your national outcomes. So we've completed that. Let's go ahead. Continue. All right. So next we have our program budget. This is the number 1 question, D1, the amount of CDBG funds being requested. This is the amount that you are putting in, that you are asking from the city of Melbourne, okay? If there is a max amount that you can ask or a minimum, the city of Melbourne will let you know. So I'm not sure if $30,000 is it. I just put in a random number. But the city of Melbourne will communicate with you that information, right? So we'll put in the information here. As you can see, we have info here, info here. We also have here where we've bolded what we are looking from you. So we have revenue, and let me delete that so you can see me do it. Proposed revenue. I also put a note here so you know what to do. You will click to add a row. This allows you to add as many rows as needed to satisfy this requirement. Within the first column, you have revenues. If we click on the drop down, we have options here that you can select from, okay? So you can have contributions, you can have special events, membership fees, all of the things that are applicable to your agency organization. All right, so we have that here. Now, if you wanted to remove a field, you have the ability to just click on the X, okay? You are empowered to click on the X if you feel that you've selected too much. We also have expenses, same goes. You click on add row, you have your drop down, salaries, employee, payroll taxes, other. Now, if there's something that is more specific in a category that other just does not cover, communicate that with the city of Melbourne. Let them know, hey, can we add this category? I noticed that this was missing. Let them know, and they will call me, and I will immediately add that category, okay? So this is all about communication and being open. So if you find that there's a category that other does not cover, let them know, and we'll see if we can add it. Of course, it's up to them, but if they feel that this is a category, we'll go ahead and add it so you have the option to select from, okay? So you'll have your money options to put in. And what it does is it will total out the amount at the bottom. So let's go and put utilities. As we are entering these numbers, it gives you the total at the bottom. All right, so these are read-only fields that gives you that total. We also have our operating budget, which you can type your budget categories, your CDBG request, your funding status, if it's been committed, if it's pending, or if it's not requested. If there are other funding sources, you can put that other funding source here, put the name of that funding source, and tell us what's happening. Is it committed, pending, or not requested? So you have the ability to add as many rows as needed to satisfy that requirement as well. Are the CDBG funds being used to support staff? I put yes. Let me show you a cool trick, right? So there's nothing that you should be able to see when you first start. If you put no, nothing will pop up. But if you put yes, you will then be required to upload job description and resumes. So this is a cool little fun thing that we have here called logic that we have. Please click here to complete the Sound Fiscal Management Certification form. If you do click here, this form will open up to you and is available to you in PDF fillable. So that means you won't have to find a printer and print the information out. You can just type in actually, I'm not Sandy, I'm LeVar Burton. You can type in the information. You can put in the name of your organization. And you can put in all of the other information that's needed. Now we have our signature box that is not fillable. That means we need a wet signature, but you do have the ability to fill this information in, and once completed, you can upload that information back into the system. Since we are here speaking of uploads, you can see that there is an option to add another file. You have the ability to add as many document pages as needed to satisfy the requirement. There is not a cap on the amount of documents that you can upload. There is not a cap on the type of document. So if it's a PDF, if it's a PowerPoint, if it's a video, if it's an Excel spreadsheet, any type of document can be uploaded, and the size of the document will not stop you from uploading. So if it's 34 or if it's 3,000, whatever size the document, there is no cap. So you can upload as many as large in any type of document here as needed. Okay, so we'll go ahead and complete it. Okay, now that we have completed and continued, we received our green check mark, and we are now down to our required document forms. We have a few forms here. As you can see, I've received green check marks because I have uploaded most, if not all, of the documents. But you see here, I cannot complete and continue. The reason being is because this complete button is not active until all required documents have been uploaded. There is a conflict of interest document that I have uploaded. You have access to this document in two ways. You can click here to download the form, or you can actually click on the title. It will open up that form for you, give you all of the information that's needed, and you have the ability to, again, it's fillable. You can click on the option and follow the rest of the form's prompt. Once completed, you have the ability to upload that document. And once you receive that check mark, this complete and continue should now be available to you. Once I complete and continue, two things will happen. I will receive a green check mark, and this submit button will now be made available to me. Okay, we are now at the submit. We have the ability to read and understand what's being asked of us in the statements, and we call these check marks attestations. So you are attesting that everything that is read here is understood. Okay, this is the equivalent of you signing your initials next to these statements. Once you click here to electronically sign, you will see that your email address is the email address that you've registered with and logged in is what pops up. If we know for sure that there is someone specific who should be signing, whether it's the executive director, CEO, whoever it is, we want to make sure that it's you logged in and it's your email address that is here. So we'll go ahead and sign. Okay. and it tells you who it's been signed by, the date, and the time. Once you click on complete and submit, tells you that the application is submitted. It tells you what to do. And it tells you who to contact should you have any questions. Now, what has happened is that this application is now locked. You cannot go back and make any changes because you've now submitted the application. Well, also what happened is you will receive an email, your receipt and confirmation email, letting you know that your application has been submitted. I just received the email, and the city of Melbourne will receive an email letting them know that, hey, Reading Rainbow has just submitted their application. Go ahead and review. So those are a few things that will happen. Of course, there's the there's the follow-up where monitoring what happened, reviewing what happened, all of the good things will happen. So I'll go back to our City of Melbourne page. Okay, and we can see that our status has now changed to application submitted. All right, do we have any questions while I set up for part 2 of this training? Any questions, any comments, concerns?
We have one in the room.
We have one? All right.
Yeah, can you hear me from here?
I can.
So if you have multiple users, do they have access to the same application at the same time?
Yes, they do.
So one could do budget and one could do another part at the same time?
Correct.
Okay. So if you made an error and you submitted, you would have to basically submit a new application.
If there is an error that is discovered post-submit by you or the person who has done, who has made the error, you can, of course, reach out to the City of Melbourne and they'll be able to work with you to make the corrections. Or, of course, you just make sure if you are the subject matter expert of your org and it's one person who's doing one page, just let them tell you that they've completed that step, the budget step, and you just double check them before you submit.
One more. Can a user submit an application who's not the lead person?
The user will have the same permissions as the person who started the application. So the permissions is the same across. Yes, they can.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
I have a question.
Sure.
At the kind of one of the first steps, it was a 12-digit number that you were supposed to put in. Is that
Okay.
a number that is given to us or one that we make up?
So this, you are speaking of the EIN. This is a number that should be given to you. And if you follow the tooltip, it tells you to go to san.gov to confirm or register for a UEI, excuse me, a UEI number.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. And with that note there, Abby, I will chat with you after so we can talk about making this tooltip more visible for our applicants.
We have one more question in the room.
Sure.
But what she said wasn't clear back here.
Oh, the question was about the unique identity identifier, if that was provided or if that's something that the organization should have. That's something the organization should have. You would have to go to SAM.gov. That information. You got it, Sandy?
All right. Awesome. All right. So let's go back here. Okay. So we are here at this page. It's been probably a few days, a few weeks, that we've gone through the review process. The City of Melbourne has reviewed. Our information has been set up. So I am setting us up. We can have everything here. All right. So in a perfect world, reading Rainbow, everything has been completed, we've been reviewed, and we have been awarded a grant. So I've received my letter from the city of Melbourne telling me the amount that I have been awarded for the name of the program. And there are instructions telling me to come back into Neighborly Software and do additional steps. So I will refresh. All right. So in refreshing, my view now changes. Rather than viewing the application, we can see that it's now changed to grant. We can see that there is $5,000, $50,000 waiting for me. This is the amount that I believe I've requested. And if we view, our view is absolutely completely different. Okay, so this is well after we've submitted, we've gone through the approval process, the interview, and everything. We are on the other side of all of that, right? So on our main page, we will see our account. We can see the amount that we've been funded. We will get into that in just a moment. But before we do so, we can see our documents. I now will work up. We can see our documents. All of the documents that we have uploaded will exist here. So we talked about that document folder and what it does. Every single last document that we've uploaded will exist here. It'll tell you who has uploaded it, the time and the date. And you also have the ability to upload any documents post-submit, okay? So if you wanted to upload an updated board of directors, or if the city of Melbourne calls and says, hey, we need an updated version of this document or whatever it is, if it's here, you can definitely click on that file type and upload the file. So you have the ability to upload documents post-submit. You also have access to your application that you've submitted. So if you need a memory jogger, or you'd like to see the information that you've entered readily available to you, it is all here within this field called application. Next, we have draw requests. This is where we will be making those requests from that $50,000 that has been awarded. So I'll go over that in a bit. We have accomplishments. Here we go. So on the accomplishment side, what this section does is it keeps track of all of your information that you've entered for the quarter. So I know that there was discussions on there may be some agencies or organizations that have to report monthly, quarterly, or annually, depending on how long your program will last for. So here, for specifically Reading Rainbow, we are on a quarterly basis. So this is our quarterly information that will keep track of the information that we've entered. Where does this come from? It will come from your reports. Reports, okay? So your reports are due. Either they're quarterly or monthly, whatever the title is, your reports are due. You can have upwards to 1 report, 12 reports. You can have as many reports that are needed that are set up by the City of Melbourne for you to report on. So if I go within these three dots, we can see that I have the ability to start my one report. Let's make sure that I have it. So, let's refresh. Here we go. All right. So the City of Melbourne sets up goals for you, and these are goals based off of the information that you have entered in probably step C. They will set these goals up for you and tell you what you said your goals are, and you have the ability to enter your progress, right? So you have the ability to enter your progress, and in this report, you can complete and it'll move you on to the next step. These are our accomplishments. So we're looking for the accomplishment for this quarter, this month, whatever it is that your setup is, whether it's quarter or monthly, you can set up your accomplishments for that time frame. So if we have a number of unduplicated persons, I think I said 500 people is who I was looking to serve, and I've served those 500 people in my first quarter. This is where we are able to break down those numbers, okay? So you can break them down, and what it does is it will give you the amount total here at the bottom, okay? Of course, race of unduplicated person served, you'll put in the information that you'll have. Okay, as we go on, right? So we have our amount, so on and so forth. So as you enter this information, what this just did is this took all of these numbers and is keeping track of it in the accomplishments tabs for you. So later on, when you want to look at your progress, where you're doing great, where you think you could do better, rather than having to go into your individual reports, you can just go to accomplishments and find those numbers for the quarters that you've served. Narrative and supporting documents, we have specific questions here that we can answer. If you put no, you'll be able to reply and put in your response. If you say yes, click here to download any self-declaration forms. By clicking here, this is the form, okay? So this is the form that you can use that will assist you to drive the responses that you're entering here within accomplishments. And the same goes, if you'd like to skip any steps rather than fully going in order, you have the ability to skip to narrative and supporting documents and pull this information that will assist you with tracking. Okay, and there is a note that says if you are serving 50 people, 50 individual forms are to be completed and uploaded. And this supports all of those uploads and the size of those documents. So you're supporting serving 500, you should be able to upload all 500 documents, or if it's one long PDF file that you've created, you should be able to upload that size of a document here. Okay. Next, we have our submit step. And this is just a certification regarding the information that you're entering for your report. Okay, so this is just saying that everything you enter is true. find it. That is me on this side. Let me make sure. There we go. Okay, and it should be marked as completed. So this is what it will show. It will show you all of your reports that either has been completed, who's completed it, any reports that are past due, and any reports that are not available. If you do have a report that is currently available and it's within the time frame that the report is due, it will be highlighted green as available. Any reports that are due, you will receive an automatic email from the system letting you know, hey, there is a report due. Now that we've completed this report, we have draw requests to make. We are looking to draw down, and if I go back to accounts, from this $50,000 that has been awarded. So my program is Reading Rainbow. My agency is Reading Rainbow. And in this case, I am prepared to, while it says professional services, this side is what will be set up by the City of Melbourne based on your request that was entered here within your program budget. So if you were to break it down and say, for utilities, I asked for 10, or this, I asked for this amount, it will be broken down and you'll be able to see the amount that you've been funded. But for the sake of demo, I just did $50,000 for professional services. So we want to draw down from professional services. So we'll click on draw requests. We will add a draw. Request date will be the date of today, but you have the ability to make any adjustments as needed. And you'll put in a description. So if it's professional services, we can put that in. And here on this page, you have the ability to expound on that information within the summary. So what of the professional services? You can put salary, training, whatever it is for professional services that you said you would use it for, you would put that information. I think that the more information that the City of Melbourne has is better. So they're really understanding. So they're not going back to you to say, please tell me more. So you have the ability to expound here. In addition to that, we need documentation. So we need receipts, invoices, bank statements, or copies of the item that you are asking for, right? So we need all of that supporting documentation that will give the reason for this request. Again, with our file upload, you can upload as many documents as needed to support this. And then here, down here, if of this $50,000, you are specifically needing $10,000 within this month or this quarter, make sure the amount that's being requested either is supported in the documents or the documents supported. So it works one or the other. So if our documents only show $5,000, then this should not be $10,000, right? We want to have that supporting document that matches your request. So we are now just requesting $10,000 and we will submit. You're submitting this draw for $10,000. Do you want to proceed? Okay. And your draw has now been submitted successfully. You have the ability to see the amount when it's been approved, but what is now happening is that that amount and that request has now gone to the City of Melbourne, and now they are, or should be working, however long it takes, they will communicate that with you. They are now working on looking through your documentations and getting that approval out to get that payment out to you. But you do have the ability to keep track of what's going on in all of your draws that you've submitted. So of this, it shows submitted, it shows the details, the request date, the amount. This will also tell you when it's been dispersed, either mailed, delivered to you, or you've picked up, and the amount that has been dispersed. So that is the amount that is on the check. So you have that ability, again, to see within the account the amount that you've been funded, the category that you've been funded for. You also have the ability to track when it's been dispersed. And when it's been dispersed, this section right here will adjust itself, okay? So it will adjust itself to show you the percentage and the amount that is remaining. It will adjust itself. You also have the ability within draw request to actually make the request from the amount that you've been granted, okay? And it will keep track of what's pending, what's dispersed. So it will keep track of that information. Now, we do have something called, and let me refresh my screen on this side so I can demo. We do have something that is let's do that. We have something that is called return request. And that may be, there are a few situations where your request may be returned. That's either because the information submitted is not matching or it's not supporting. That may be because there is a report due. But when that happens, you will receive notification from the system letting you know that something has been returned to you. It has been, and the reasons will be listed. I'm working with that right now. They're with me. In the meantime, do we have any questions?
Return request doesn't mean that it's been denied, it's just mean that you have some more work to do on the application, is that correct?
Was that for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, one more time, and if you can get closer to the speaker.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my question was when it says return request,
Mhm.
does that mean that it was denied, or does that just mean that you have some more work to do?
You have some more work to do. Yep, and I will give the example right now of what a return request looks like. It has not been denied. Okay, any other questions? All right. Yep, do we have one?
No.
Okay, all right, so we see how it says submitted. This means now we are waiting for the city of Melbourne to review everything that we have submitted. So we've asked for $10,000. Let's say that the documents that we have provided only shows and supports $5,000. So that means we're requesting invoices, receipts, whatever that makes up that other half. So here we say it's submitted. On my side, I am City of Melbourne on this side. So I am returning to requester. By returning to requester, I am entering my notes. And the reason why I'm not showing you this is because you wouldn't see this. This is what the City of Melbourne would do. So this is invisible. The City of Melbourne will also notify you. So notify the person who's made the request so you know. And by clicking on return to requester, what this does is it now turns your status to not submitted. And because by the time you've submitted, you've probably logged out, you're going on with your day, but you will receive an email, and I am waiting for the email to pop up. Okay, so this is the email. Can everyone see the email? you will receive an email from the system that has your case name, your case ID, your draw number, the draw amount returned by. It will tell you who returned it, and it says the reasons for, okay? Documents for $5,000 needed, and it will tell you what to do. Now, this says admin. That is because I am registered in the system as admin, but it will direct you to the participant portal where you can just click here on this, and it will drop you directly into the portal where you can then make those adjustments, okay? So you have your reason why, right? So for the question was, are you being denied or declined? You are not. You just need to make the adjustments that are listed in the reason. So we go back in. We will now make that adjustment. We're sure it supports it, or if we need to give more information, we'll do so. And now we already have our amount that we typed in. We just click on submit. And it will push it back to the city of Melbourne. Now, I will quickly approve it so you guys can see what the approval looks like. Okay, so if we refresh, we can see that we are pending approval for $10,000. That means on the workflow side, the city of Melbourne has something what we call checks and balances. We have a workflow. That means it's not just one person who's reviewing and making the final decision. It's going through many eyes, so it's fair, right? We want to make sure that there are many eyes on this and many people can work together to make the approval. No biases, no unfairness. These people are working together. You have the ability to see that. Transparency, right? You can see the program administrator when that has happened, who it was completed by. Next, we'll make the next approval. Okay. We've been approved. Our status has gone from pending approval to approved, and it shows you who's made that approval, right? So as this is happening, excuse me, sorry. We should see, when you first log in, you should see what's happening. You should see that, okay, it's moving 2 out of 3. That means we're waiting for one last person. And this is the mark as dispersed. This means that the finance office have made the approval. They've cut the check. However, the checks will be delivered to you. That's the city of Melbourne, whether it's you pick up, mailed, however. But once it goes out the door, we mark it as dispersed. And that's what I'm doing right now. And now we've gone from orange to green, okay? So that means the funding is on its way, or you are walking out of the city of Melbourne's office with this funding. So this is how that looks as far as draw requests and draw approvals. So if we go back to our draw request, we can also see that that has been completed. All right. Do we have any questions? Thumbs up? None? No questions? Any comments? Anything? This call is being recorded. So if you'd like to watch this again, it will be made available to you. And there are documents that support this process that you can have. We're good? Anything? Okay, I think silence is good. So Abby, I will turn it back over to you.
All right. Sandy, thank you so much for your time
Of course.
and teaching us today. We really, really appreciate it. You've been great to us and very supportive, and we appreciate just pretty much just everything. Can't say thank you enough. You've worked with our whole staff. I guess you sure you don't have any other questions for Sandy? So Once in a lifetime.
Thank you. I see you in the back. Thank you.
I have one question.
Would you be able to send this out to like people that weren't able to make it today?
I'm working
Oh,
on it with IT.
Okay, like the recorded videos. to send
Or if we can post it on our web, something to make it available.
out? Mhm.
There was a reason we wanted everyone in the room, to get the benefit, and hear other questions being asked and whatnot. And we are not the trainers. I just want to make that really clear, because we know there are some people who are going to complete that application at 11:30 p.m. and send me an email Friday night. There are some of those in the room and say, hey, I had trouble. I'm going to point you back to the tutorials online, unless it's a material question about the actual application. So that was one, but we're glad that you're here so you can convey information to the other people, not to shirk responsibility, but we're desperately trying to stay in our lane and give you a really good product and work on the federal side and leave you all to what you do best and apply for your grants in this really well-built machine that's there. So
What are the dates again for the, it'll be released and then due?
hadn't put those out yet.
Okay.
But since we're here, Sandy, do you have any other comments for us before I start
I have one
recording?
question.
I do. It doesn't have to be recorded, but are there any questions first?
There's one more question in the back.
So can we print the application or the documents at any time during the process?
Great question. Yes, you can at any time.
Okay, thank you.
So let me make sure I share with you the screen. So at any time, you'll have a print option on each page. So if we go review our application, you have the ability to print at any time your documents. You should be able to print application by clicking on print application. It will also print those documents. So at any time you have the ability to print.
Question.
Yes,
Do we have the ability to start the application and go back in and complete it?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. As long as the application has not been submitted. So if you have in our first part, if you get up to step C and you need a nap, you can save it, log out, come back, and continue where you left off, as long as it has not been submitted. If you've submitted the application, all of the information that you've entered is now logged in, and the system is now referring back to the city of Melbourne to now review.
Thank you.
Of course.
Was there one more question in the second to last row?
Yeah, of course.
Once you add users to the application and everything's reviewed, submitted, do those users remain on that application, or only the initiator has the ability to do the disbursements and such?
That is an awesome question. The users remain. If you would like to remove the users, the city of Melbourne has the ability to do so. So you'll just reach out to the city of Melbourne and say, we'd like to remove these 2 users, and they will remove them for you, and you remain the main person.
Thank you.
Of course. I would like to also say, being that I've been at this software company for a while now, we have encountered where it's only been one person and the person has taken a leave or they've become ill. So if anything, I'm not wishing that, we rebuke that. But if anything were to happen where there's a long leave or you move on to another agency or you're no longer with the agency, we ask that you name someone to be a user before you leave. Because we want to make sure that the assistance continues.